Are you moving to Seattle and thinking about that perfect new construction home? Today, we're going to go into what the new construction scene looks like in the Seattle Bellevue area and what you need to know before you go home shopping. So if you're like a lot of new home buyers, you love the idea, kind of like that new car smell. You love the idea of that new home smell, right? Something that's hot off the presses, made just for you, move-in ready with no maintenance for years to come. Well, in today's video, we're going to go into what it's really like to go through the new construction home buying process and what some things are that you need to be aware of before you dive into the slick sales experience that new home construction sites are. If you haven't been on my channel before, I want to welcome you. My name is Emily Cressey. I'm a local real estate agent. You're a native guide. I was born and raised in this area, and I love Seattle, and I'm going to tell you all about it. That's the purpose of this channel, helping people primarily who are relocating to the Seattle area get a sneak peek at what it's like to live here and buy a home here. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about new home construction. In other videos, we go through things like touring and driving through different neighborhoods, looking at some of the lifestyle options that different areas have to provide. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and check out my library of videos, especially once you start building that short list of where you think you might want to go. If you would like to buy a house in this area, I would love to help you. So don't hesitate to reach out. You can visit me on my website, homeproassociates.com, or you can give me a call, 206-578-3438. Text me, I don't know, Facebook message me. There's a lot of cool ways the kids are using to get in touch now, but whatever you do, please don't hesitate. I'm here to help. I love chatting with people, whether or not you've decided to move. Even if you're just still in the early stages, I would be happy to share some of my time with you and help get you pointed in the right direction. So again, today we're going to be talking about new home construction, and it is super fun and super glamorous. There's almost nothing I love more in my work life than to go to some of these new home sites, especially the big neighborhoods where they have multiple model homes set up, custom painted, beautifully staged, smelling good, with a friendly salesperson there walking you through, telling you everything, how wonderful these houses are. They are very appealing, and if you would like to buy a house in a new construction area, the sales team would be happy to help you. They will help you while you're there, and they'll follow up with you like mad. So if you don't want to get harassed and you want to give me a little help out, I would love for you to just put my name. You can say I'm working with Emily Cressey, and that way they'll know that you already have an agent, and I will be there to help you and represent you as you get through any of the sales process. So if you find one that you like, or even if you just need to write down somebody's name to get in there, feel free to write down Emily Cressey, and you can give them my phone number as well. Right? Okay. So all shameless self-promotion aside, I do want to give you some tips on what to look for. Actually, last weekend, I was just in a new home construction development. This is an area of about 86 homes that they're building in Bothell. And my client has been looking at a lot of new construction on and off, comparing that with pre-existing construction. So I have a pretty good baseline here. Having gone out with him in the field, he's been looking on and off for the last year for a place for his parents, while also thinking about selling their place and also buying a new business. So buying the business kind of took precedence. He backburnered the home purchase, especially as the real estate market was changing. So first of all, new construction prices. They have a desire to set the prices higher and higher as they sell through the development. Each home that sells creates a comparable sale for the other homes, and what they usually try to do is release a few units every week, sell those at a premium price in a competitive market. Now they've raised the baseline of what their prices are worth, and the next week they sell some more for a little bit higher. So frequently, if you want the very best prices for the home, it helps to get into the early stages of building in the development, knowing that the builder is incentivized to get more expensive properties going further and further along. That being said, if the market doesn't cooperate, there's not a lot that the builder can do. We saw in this particular development, it was a Lennar Homes development. They had homes priced as high as 2.2 million earlier in the year in 2022. And around summer, when interest rates started shooting up, they really saw a contraction in the amount of interest in the homes. They realized they were not going to be able to sell through their inventory at 2.2 million, and they slashed prices big time. They had the prices go down much lower. I think those particular homes are now selling for about 1.5 to 1.6 million. There can be some variety throughout the development as well based on the lot. So some lots, usually they'll have a map showing, all the little squares where the houses are going to be built, and they will show you where your home is going to be. So it'll be this floor plan, it'll be this finished package, and it'll be right here. Now, some lots are more desirable than others. Yours might have a beautiful view of the mountains, the lake. A territorial view is what we call it when you're just up on a hill, enjoying looking out over the region surrounding you. Or you might have other concerns like electrical wires. Now, whether or not electrical wires, high tension wires, are harmful or not is a question of debate. But the fact is that in people's minds, there is a concern that they can be harmful, and that is enough to lower the price of certain homes. In this particular development, there was one home that sold for $100,000 less than their baseline pricing. And we were thinking, ooh, blood in the water, maybe we can negotiate a good deal and they're going to drop their prices even further. The site agent was humorous. He told me that was the only client he had ever hung up on. They had a really difficult negotiation, and the guy really worked him over to get that lot down to that price. They closed at the end of the fiscal year, the whole 9 yards. But part of the problem, the reason that particular lot was not available or was not desirable, was because it had a Gauss, an electric meter reading that was higher than what some of the other homes would have enjoyed. So if that's a thing that's important to you, a lot of these developments are built, I'll just say, like a little bit in the countryside, especially the large ones where they're building 100 homes. We don't have space for that here in the middle of the city. You need to go out into some rural areas, and often that's places where they'll have these electrical easements with high tension wires. It's one of the reasons maybe they hadn't been built up yet. They also try to keep the wires out away from the general population. So many big home developments that I go to have electrical wires in or on or around the development site. So you might want to invest in some sort of a meter reader device if that is of concern and you are planning to shop new construction. I know you can also rent them too. So if you find one, if you find a home that you like, and you otherwise want to move forward, but you just want to double check it, you can get those meter readings before you decide which lot to choose. Another reason that people really like these new construction homes is because they look good. So when we were at this Lennar construction development site, what we found was that there were homes available of almost every design except the one design that was the model home. They only had one finished, staged home to walk through so that you could see what it would look like when it was done. And that particular floor plan was the one that had sold out. Now, it was a less expensive floor plan, but also I think there's a lot to be said for people being able to see and experience and have a hands-on look and touch of what they're actually going to be getting. It helps them connect with that a little bit more. So as you look through the different floor plans, as you look through the different price points, try to gauge which ones are going to be most desirable and for whom. Some might have features that don't bother you, like maybe they're 2 bedrooms and that's all you need. But at the same time, if most people want 3 bedrooms, it may be that buying a 3-bedroom now will give you a little bit more flexibility on the back end. When you go to resell it, there'll be more demand for that property down the road. Likewise, there may be a feature that you really like. In this development, one of the models had a really cool mother-in-law suite. It was a built-in accessory dwelling unit with its own little kitchenette, its own full shower, its own side entrance to the house. So this is something that you could rent out to somebody else You could have out of town guests stay there for an extended period. You could even have, an elderly relative living there on a permanent basis, or a young relative. You could have anyone. So that might be a feature that's really cool for you, but maybe not as popular for the general public. So you have to decide how much of a premium you're going to pay in order to get that, and look at not just the utility to you, but also to the next buyer. Is there demand for that in the marketplace? That's something that's really important to pay attention to, because they all look good when you're there at the model home site. The next thing that I really want to highlight right now in the marketplace, we're switching over from a seller's strong advantage to a buyer's advantage. And we're still somewhat in a seller's market. We still have short days on market. We still have low inventory. So it's not really a buyer's market, but what is for sale is taking longer to sell, and buyers are finding that they have a little bit more negotiating power. We're kind of in a deadlock right now, and I'll date myself a little bit. So it's winter, which is our low period in the year. Not as many homes transact in the winter. We're coming off of this low sort of pricing falling as interest rates rise because of affordability issues. And so what sellers are finding is that they're not able to sell their houses for as much as they would have in the past. And that's frustrating. Nobody likes to feel like they missed the boat. So they have a low interest rate because they just refinanced, and they can't sell their house for all that much. So if they don't have to sell, a lot of people are sitting there kind of, take their ball home with them. Kind of, if I can't sell it for $2 million, I'm not going to sell it at all. Right. And so they're just sitting there choosing not to move for voluntary reasons, and waiting in their mind for the market to come back up, even if that takes a couple of years. So we're not seeing a lot of voluntary inventory come on the market. What we are seeing is people who have to move, like, hey, I got a job transfer, I got to move, personal situation, lost my job, got a divorce, can't afford the house, medical bills, or so any of those reasons are reasons that people might be choosing to sell right now, kind of because they're forced to. And oftentimes that doesn't come with the most well planned out, most well fixed up inventory. I went in a house last weekend that smelled like smoke. It hadn't been updated in years. We actually went to several properties like this. I think maybe 3 out of the 7 that we planned to look at were estate sale homes. So just not as much attractive inventory coming onto the market right now in winter. I think and I hope that will change as we move into the spring market, where a lot of people who had been thinking about selling will go ahead and decide to list their homes at that point, hoping to catch the run up in prices that usually comes during spring. A lot of buyers and sellers in the marketplace during that time. But when we are in a lull and we are in a little bit more advantaged buyers market, the home builders still have to sell. So they need to adjust what they're doing, their marketing strategy. They're bringing in real estate agents. For the last couple of years, when things were moving so quickly, they wouldn't pay real estate agents to bring clients because they felt that they didn't need us. Now they're saying, hat in hand, please bring your clients back. We'll pay you a commission after all. So realtors are back in the game, and loan incentives and closing incentives are in the game. So they will do things like pay down your interest rate or pay some closing costs to help you get into a property that might otherwise be a stretch for you. It's just a little bonus for you to come to them rather than coming to someone else. Now, a lot of people do like new construction homes because of the lack of maintenance involved. And typically here in Washington State, builders are required to give you a 1-year home warranty, home guarantee. It's kind of a minimalist thing, but a lot of builders will add in additional guarantees and incentives on more of the workmanship, the appliances, all the major systems, things like that. So it's a good idea if you are in a situation where you have that you put that on your calendar so that I have a 30-day check, I have a 60-day check, I have a 1-year check, whatever it is. That's a great time for you to take inventory, go around your house, look for the settling cracks, look for anything that's broken or not quite right, and go ahead and have the builders come in and fix that. Now, most of the home builders do a great job because they know they have this warranty that they have to fulfill, but there's always the subcontractor who might take a shortcut, or maybe the fill dirt didn't settle and now we're getting some cracking. It's pretty typical. Houses are made of wood. It's organic. It moves, it dries, it bends, it warps. So just going in, knowing that you will probably have some things that need to be fixed up. Nail pops are really common, where the nails kind of work their way out of the wood and they all need to be hammered back in. My sister-in-law, my husband's sister, nope, my husband, yep, husband's sister, doesn't matter. She bought a new house and it was on the edge of the development, and they had a concrete patio, and they had a ton of erosion happening. That was basically the fill dirt settling, the patio getting undercut, and nothing was under it. So it was like cracking and falling apart and falling away. So that was an issue. They actually had to sue the builder in order to get him to fix it. It wasn't here in Washington, it was out of state, but things can go wrong. And when they're whipping through, putting up a lot of homes, sometimes they don't catch everything, or sometimes there's just, things go wrong. The nice thing about getting an older house, if it's been there for 60 years, it's survived earthquakes, it's survived rainstorms. A lot of the things that can go wrong will have already happened and been identified and been repaired. Somebody put in a sump pump, somebody changed the gutters or the drainage. So just beware that even though it all looks nice and shiny on the outside, it should be low maintenance. You have a new roof, you have a new furnace, you have a new water heater. There's always the inevitable unanticipated events that it's just good to be aware of and plan ahead for. And the last thing I want to bring up in this section of the video is just talking about the build out time. Different builders pre-sell at different phases of the development. Smaller builders may not have as much inventory. They may only have 9 houses or 12 houses in their development. They may not be selling it as far in advance. The larger builders will typically get one home, like a model home, built and up and running as quickly as possible, so that they have something for people to look at. And then they'll start building different homes in different parts, phase 1, phase 2, try to get the homes up and running, but it may be under construction at that site for 2 to 3 years. So when you come and you look at the model home and you say, yes, I want it, one important factor to look at is how quickly will you be able to move into the home. The home that you buy today may not be available for 4 or 5 months. So while you're not going to start your mortgage payment until then, you also won't have a house until then. It makes it easier to plan ahead. It makes it easier to sell your old house on the timetable. But what happened to a friend of mine, another agent in the office, she wrote a contract on a house that she wanted to buy in Phoenix. Several months later, as the market went down and down and down and down, her contract price is no longer what the home would sell for in today's market. So she's looking at, I have some earnest money here on the table. I've seen a lot of builders do like $10,000 or $15,000 as earnest money. And the house that I want to buy is worth, whatever it is, $50,000 less than my contract price. So I would like to renegotiate with the builder and say, I still want to buy it, but I don't want to pay this for it. I only want to pay this. So she's going to have that hard conversation. If the builder says no, she's going to have to lose her earnest money and come back in and make a lower offer to buy the home at the new price. So that's one of the downsides, especially if the market is becoming soft, that you may actually get a contract price that is not reflective of the value of the home by the time you get it. So that's one issue, is the value, if the value changes. On the other hand, if there's appreciation going on, it may put you in a fantastic position. The other aspect of that is just convenience. If you're on the market trying to buy a home, you may not have 5 months or 18 months to wait. You might be saying, I'm looking now because I want to buy something now. And then the last variable is really this idea of how much of a premium are you paying to get something new? If you looked at that same square footage home a couple blocks away, is it going to be selling for as much as the new construction home where everything is new and they have the fancy sales office? Or is it going to be priced for something less? And obviously there are a variety of factors there. The location, is it the exact same floor plan? What's going on? But we look at comps, and we can look at new comps and kind of get an idea of what the new inventory is going for compared to the used inventory. Much like, buying a car, it loses a little something when you first drive it off the lot. So for the first couple of years, you may not see enough appreciation to offset that premium that you're paying to get the fancy, nice new thing. On the other hand, if you're getting a lot of incentives from the builders, you may very well be getting a great deal. So we just need to look at that on a case-by-case basis, depending on the builder that you're working with and what's going on in the rest of the real estate market. Now, a lot of times people ask me about the different builders in the marketplace. Who's out there and are they well thought of or not? So some of the builders in this area, I'll read off a little list. We have Lennar Homes, we have Pulte Homes, we have Toll Brothers, Taylor Morrison, KB Homes, and Mainview Homes. And I'm gonna have to actually go. I have a meeting at my kids' school that I have to go to right now, but I'm gonna come back and we'll go into some of the reviews of those home builders in part 2 of this video. I'm back. I'm wearing a different outfit. I had to go to a meeting at my kids' school. Now I'm back, and I didn't want to finish the video without just giving you a little bit of a review on who some of our bigger builders are in the area, because I know a lot of people like to find out what's going on with the builders in town. So this website, newhomesource.com, has some ratings and reviews of some of the larger builders in the area. Lennar, LGI Homes, and Pulte Homes are some of the biggest. So as you can see, Lennar has 4 homes, LGI is doing 1 right now, and Pulte has 9. And you can click here and kind of see how their reviews are, what they look like. And for the most part, a lot of these places have 4 out of 5. When I was looking at the reviews for Lennar, I'm just referring to my notes here, there was a woman named Deborah who said she had actually bought 8 different homes, 3 new builds, and the Lennar home was the best of them. And she really liked that they had a 30-day follow-up. So after she moved in, they initiated contact with her after 30 days to see if there were any problems around the house. I will say I was recently in a Lennar community. It looked really nice. The homes had initially been selling for $2.2 million, now down to 1.6. And similar homes, floor plans, builds, and everything like that in a different area in Sultan, which is out on Highway 2 into the mountains, are selling for about $500,000. So when we're looking at this pricing, like 1.5 versus 500,000, a lot of that comes down to the price of the land and the value of the homes based on the location. So while they may not be negotiable, it's just interesting to see that the baseline for the build is probably under 500,000. And the question then becomes, how much did they pay for the land and what's their profit margin? I don't know. I always just kind of like to know what's going on. Lennar is great because they have the motto of kind of including everything in the price. So you're going to get all your appliances, you're going to get mini blinds. They don't come with a washer dryer, but they do come with things like, an electronic thermostat or smart thermostat. A lot of little gadgets and things are built right in. So you can make sure to ask when we get together, what the features are of the particular community. They have an all-in-one plan rather than having you pick and choose and customize. At the home we were in Bothell, they had 3 different color schemes. To me, they looked all pretty much the same, kind of combinations of gray, tasteful, professionally designed, but it's not the type of thing where you get to go in and pick and choose all of your materials. With all the supply line issues that we've been having lately, picking and choosing all of the materials tends to take a really long time, and you need to be there right at the beginning when they start building out your house. And so sometimes the timeline on that can be a little bit longer as well. The guy at Lennar was actually saying that Toll Brothers is another home builder, that Lennar is 10 times the size of Toll Brothers, and Toll Brothers was one of those that allowed you to pick and choose your interior color scheme and that type of thing. And the supply chain issues over the last couple of years had really tanked their deliverability because, we want to order the espresso kitchen cabinets. Well, those are on back order. They're going to take a while to get here, and we can't, do the next thing until those are put in. So the nice thing about Lennar then is that they have ordered what's available. It's getting put in and they can hit their timelines a little bit more easily. Pulte Homes is another big home builder in the area. I had a client who was very interested in a Pulte home development in Renton, right by sort of the Renton border over to the east by Bellevue. And these homes had been delayed in their building. Essentially, they started hoping to release them, kind of saying, oh, we're going to release them in February. And 9 months later, they're finally releasing the homes. The pricing that they had planned on in February was now too low. So we were kind of waiting on it, hoping that we'd get in there at 1.3 million. And the homes were actually selling for 1.5 million or so, even in the softening market. So definitely that seemed to be the sweet spot where the demand and the market met. So those homes were selling quite rapidly. They did have a longer wait time to get into the properties. It seemed like it was a 6 or 7 month process and no guarantee of when it would be done. So if you sold your house ready to close, your new home might not yet be available. So that's something to keep an eye on. And as I was reading through these reviews on Pulte as a home builder, delays were one of the most frequently mentioned concerns that buyers had. So just something to be aware of here as far as the timeline and understanding, reading that builder contract very carefully. As a real estate agent, I always like to help people read the fine print. What does this actually say? What are we actually getting? Because, it could be 18 months before the home is actually delivered, and that can mess up the plans in some cases too. Just something to think about, and talk to the on-site agent to see if they have been having problems in those regards. Again, I would love to take you out there and show you the homes so that you can have proper representation and help with asking some of these hard questions. Sometimes your eyes glaze over when the salesperson comes in with their slick spiel. But even if I'm not there, if you want to put my name in as your agent, Emily Cressey, I would be happy to represent you if that does turn out to be a home that you're interested in. And we have the opportunity to negotiate a little bit when we're putting the offer together. Plus, they won't harass you, since a lot of times the name of the game in this business is follow up, follow up, follow up, and you may be getting a lot of phone calls from their office. And finally, I wanted to share LGI Homes. LGI is a little bit more of a budget community builder. So they're going to be building less expensive homes and townhomes. Here is what I'm seeing at the moment. And unfortunately, they did not get as well reviewed. They had more, we're over here. They had more closer to a 3-star average than a 4-star average for their reviews, and people were complaining about how the process went. And, to some extent, this is due to a small sample size. We only have 10 reviews here, and a lot can be dependent on the the quality of the subcontractors. Obviously, we have a lot of employment shortages right now. It's hard, good help is hard to find. So, here's somebody saying that they had a leak, there was a broken pipe, the vents were not properly installed, poor workmanship on the cabinet doors, the home came with some flaws. We hired an inspector and found things that needed to be fixed. So this is why it's really important to have a real estate agent to help you out. You can get a home inspection. You don't necessarily just have to take their inspector's word for it. And a lot of times I found, as we were building our house here, that having inspections at each phase was helpful to catch things that the workmen maybe didn't always know how to do correctly. Sometimes there are apprentices involved, sometimes they're going quickly, and there's just not the oversight that you would hope. So having someone there to help you is a really good idea, and I'm happy to do that for you if you like. Not to beat a dead horse, just putting it out there. So I hope this helps. There are a couple other communities you can take a look at. Here are other home builders in this area. I've seen a lot from Mainview Homes, RM Homes, Taylor Morrison, Toll Brothers, and TriPoint. These are other builders in the area that you can take a look at. And the number of communities that they have just depends on how much land they have, on what's going on. Remember, oftentimes the communities that are large single-family homes tend to be in a little bit more rural areas where there's more space, but some of these communities could also be new construction townhomes and that type of thing. So there's something for every price point if new construction is the direction that you want to go. If you haven't decided, I would definitely compare what you can get for your money with new construction to what you can get in the existing market. So, hello, this is Emily. I've now turned the ringer on my phone off. And you guys will not believe it. That was not a fake call. He was watching my video of living in Linwood on my YouTube channel, and he's moving up here from Florida, and he was just calling. So I kid you not, people call all the time. It's great to hear from you guys, and I'm so sorry for that interruption. But what the last thing I want to leave you with is just, if you would like to buy a new home, I can get you a list of those coming to you via email. You don't have to register separately at all of the builder sites. Just email me, emily.cressey@homeproassociates.com. Let me know what areas you like, what price range you're thinking about, how many bedrooms you need, and that type of thing. And I'll get you a list of all of the new homes that are coming on the market. So happy to help you with that. Anything I can do, any questions that you have, I'm always here to help you guys. I love you guys. Whatever you need, I'm here to help. So in the meantime, make sure you check my other videos. I have lots coming all the time. Every week I try to make a new one, and I have a nice large library backlog kind of showing a lot of the different areas and what you can expect when you're on the ground driving through, what your neighborhood is going to look like. So check those out as well, and I will see you on the next one.